it's something that I'm really grappling with as we're talking about it, to try and help people shift their perspective, because we're not saying that it's growth that is growth that brings you pain or stress, or we're saying it's growth that inspires you to become better and be better. And it may take you a second to make it inspiring for each other. So in the start, it may rub you. So for example, as you said, when Radhi comes up to me at the beginning and says, hey, I need you to do this or that, my ego is quite high and I go, well, why don't you do it for yourself? And then it drives a wedge between us. And then over time, you respect and love so much about this person that you start to go, well, wait a minute, maybe they're saying it from the right place. Now I've grown to have the ability to recognize that everything she says is from a place of love. And now maybe I'll be able to receive it. And the third time she says it, I'm almost noticing I've been not present myself. And I can say, hey, I haven't been present. And now we're not trying to live in a world where I am always fully present, because that's never going to happen. That's not realistic. But it goes from her saying it and me being triggered to her saying it and me being aware. And then me noticing it even before she says it, so that I'm actually able to explain why I may not be present. Sometimes I'll say to Radhi, hey, you know what? The next week's really intense for me. I think I'm just going to be a bit less around because I've got some things to focus on. And I just want you to know it's got nothing to do with you, or I've just got a lot on right now. And I find that that's really helpful for a relationship.
And that's emotional safety. Choosing a partner and building a relationship that is based in trust, emotional safety, your ability to hear Radhi's take and trust that she's coming from a loving place, not from a critical place, not from a defensive place. That requires emotional stability, that requires emotional safety. So when you choose a partner, look at this in early dating. What is the character of the person that you're seeing? How do they treat their friends? How do they treat their family? Are they a person of integrity? Are they typically kind and well-intentioned? Because that's going to bloom into a relationship with that same character, right? Where someone gives you feedback. This person that you're building a relationship with gives you feedback. Can you trust that they're well-intentioned in their feedback, that what they're asking for or what they're reflecting back to you is for the greater good of your connection, right? Or of simply a request to love them better, to love them in the way that they want to be loved. And assuming you want to be a person who does that, assuming you want to be a person who participates in the emotional safety and the stability, then you're able to hear that underneath the request or the feedback, et cetera, rather than get defensive. But it requires trust and it requires emotional safety. Absolutely.
Yeah. And how do you know the difference between someone's request being inherently good versus unreasonable? Because I imagine when people are dating, they may hear quite often, hey, I don't think you're present, or you missed my friend's birthday, or you missed this, you missed that. And you almost feel like they're not hearing you. How do you make sense or decipher between someone's feedback being inherently good and for the relationship versus just being an unreasonable request?
If there's too much black and white thinking, if someone comes to you and says, you skipped my friend's birthday, you didn't remember that important meeting that I had last week, and you forgot to take out the trash, you must not love me. You don't care about this relationship, and I won't stand for it. I won't have it. That's unreasonable. That's ego speaking. That's an insecurity. That's not kind. That's not a loving way to communicate or to think. If someone can come to you and hold the nuance there, can see the color. Hey, you've been really stressed, right? You had a really busy week. You forgot about my meeting. You missed my friend's birthday. You forgot to take out the trash like you said that you would. I know you've been busy. Can I help support you in some way? And is there any way that you can make the event next week with me? Be really important, right? So it's being able to hold, hey, this hurts. Hey, I see where you're coming from. You're a human with finite capacity, and I don't expect you to be a superhero here. And the relationship is important, right? There's so much color in there. So I think the straightforward answer to your question is, if it's black and white, if it's demanding, and if it really only considers one perspective, one side, then you might want to consider a different approach.
Yeah, and that's really great awareness for ourselves as well, because we all want everyone else to communicate with us in an emotionally intelligent way, but then when it comes to us sharing our needs and